This is part 3 to What If Deku Had a Ghost, was a ghost, and now we're gonna do the recap. Deku, we just got done with the quirk assessment test, and now Deku's laying in his bed. That's all I'm about to say, because that's all I can remember. Now, Deku is laying on his bed, and Amon appears. It's time, Deku. I thought I had at least one more month. Yes, but you gotta do it now. It's almost exactly a year since the day you died. Alright then. Deku stands back up and stares at Amon. I know which ability I want to pick. Now, let's rephrase what will happen to you once you pick one. Even I know you don't need it, but I still gotta do it, Deku. You started to take a liking to that name. What, Deku? I think it's a nice one. Okay then. So, Deku is now listening to Amon speak. When you pick a malice ability, the original abilities you had of as a normal malice spirit will be gone. You will still be able to do the basic malice traits such as stockpile, distribute, and shape malice, but you will not be able to use the reality bending effects of malice. You can only use the reality bending effects that you placed on the malice, and that will be the only malice trait you will ever have for all eternity. So you must pick wisely. Okay. You would still be able to do the basic abilities of a ghost, because those are permanent. But other than that, your malice ability is final. So what if you picked enchantment? What does this do? This gives me the ability to enchant any item with any ability I want. The limits are that I have to come in contact with it, and last but not least, the stronger the enchantment, the longer it takes to charge it up. Seems reasonable. Now, give me a little bit of the blood circling around in your body. Deku creates a needle out of malice and then pokes his finger. He clenches his fist and goes, "Malice ability chosen." A ray of aura appears around Deku, and then it's finally done. Deku has lost all his other abilities and now only has the ability of enchantment. And the reason he did this is because if he doesn't do it, he will lose their abilities anyway. So this way, he at least has an ability. Deku changes up his costume a little bit. He creates he changes up to, my bad, how I go. He goes back to, he has nostalgia and goes back to a book he's watched a little while, that he made when he was a little kid. And he opens his page and he sees about a hero costume. Deku takes this and he goes, why don't I improve upon this? So, Deku now has an improved version of his normal costume. And so Deku goes back to school, only to be announced that they're going to the USJ. The people who know what the USJ is, get excited, and, well, they get on the bus and start driving there. When they get on the bus, they see that Deku has a different costume. It's made up of gloves, bandages on his arms, and then just the normal part of, and then just the normal costume he has in canon. Everyone is wondering why Deku changed his costume. And he goes, change with costume comes when changing quirks. And everybody's just looking at him, you changed your quirk? How's that possible? More like I gave my quirk a limit. You see, my quirk was very widespread in what everything it could do. Now I just limit it to one profession. Why? You seem to be almighty in the last one. Exactly, huh? Now I can actually grow as a person, and I can actually stay as a hero, because if I didn't pick one profession, I would never be able to pick a profession ever again. Oh, okay. Everyone says it's completely confusing what Deku said. But for the rest of the ride, Deku just explains a bit further, and then when they get to the USJ, they have a little bit more understanding of what Deku's abilities is. When they get off the bus, they see that 13 is there. Uraraka and Deku immediately start to fanboy, or in this case, fangirl as well. And well, they're off to the USJ. The lights go out, and Mr. Aizawa turns to. Is this recording? Okay, yeah. Mr. Aizawa turns to see a massive black portal in the center of the USJ. Sero asks, "Hey, I thought we were doing normal rescue training. Why are the villains appearing?" Mr. Aizawa immediately jumps off, yelling to 13, "Get the kids out of here. This is not a drill." As everyone turns to go to the door and exit, a massive warping villain appears. He says, "Where is All Might? I thought he was supposed to be here." Immediately, one of the students, unknown to me, yells, "He's sorry. Sorry. He's not able to make it here. But you can have us instead." Then Kachan and Kirishima immediately go for an attack, but he just falls right through him. But when Deku goes to attack, it's not really an attack. Deku actually manages to touch the warp villain. The villain is confused because he knows for a fact that he didn't hit the body. But then the warp villain looks down, then he sees that there is a marking on his body. Then Deku turns to Kirishima and Kachan and goes, "Hit him with everything you've got." And for some reason, all the attacks are now effective. The warping villain knows that he's in a bad situation and warps out of there. Then he falls back to where Shikamaru was. Shikamaru yells at the warp villain, "Why did you run away?" It's like, that kid has a weird ability. He made parts of me able to hit. He made parts of my body tangible, and they were able to damage me. So now the kids are not split up thanks to Deku. Deku immediately turns around and yells, "We have to help out and then Eraserhead. If that warping villain gets a hold of him, stuff could happen." But then, as he says this, Deku turns around and yells to Ida, "Go get the heroes." Ida just looks at him and nods as he goes for the door and leaves. Some of the kids try and follow. Some of the kids go and follow. This includes Invisible Girl Earphone Jack, and Sugar Rush stays. I can't remember what his name was, but he controls animals. And Manetta, obviously Manetta. So they leave to get professional heroes. And they eventually run into Oma, but we're not at that part yet. Deku just watching in horror as Mr. Aizawa is just literally just wiping the floor with every villain there. And then he looks in horror once again when he sees that Mr. Aizawa's elbow is disintegrating when that man touched him. Deku jumps off, running towards Mr. Aizawa. Mr. Aizawa says, "No, get away," as Deku starts to fly. He makes himself untouchable and he goes through the floor. When he appears again, he's at Mr. Aizawa. And now something's glowing in Deku's hand. Deku touches Mr. Aizawa's elbow, and it starts to heal. Then Deku grabs Mr. Aizawa and then makes them both untangible as they both fall to the floor. Now, Mr. Aizawa and Deku are back at 13. I bark with 13. Deku says, watch out. Watch out, that man has a decay quirk. Whatever he touches turns into ash. Deku then goes, I'm gonna try and buy you guys some time as we get out of here. Deku's hands start to glow again. And after a couple seconds, Deku places his hand onto the floor. Rocks start to rush to his hand, and then the rock starts taking shape into a person. Concrete golem. Every villain, Deku just points at the villains, and then the concrete golem is just doing his thing, destroying them, wiping them out of the dust. And every time the golem's body parts, every time pieces of the golem fall off, they just form into little mini shapes of the golem. So now the golem is missing an entire arm thanks to all body parts falling off, and now he's still fighting. Shikimari comes and he disintegrates the entire golem. Deku says, oh man, that took a while to come up with. We need to think of a new plan. Then all of a sudden a black with red striped man appears. He's wearing no short and skulls on his knees. His brain is exposed and his teeth are incredibly sharp. Deku turns back, wondering where the hell he came from. As the gnome was about to punch Deku, Deku immediately reacts and puts up a malice force field, protecting them. The force field cracks, and in Deku's horror, Deku knows that it will not be able to last another hit. Deku breaks up the force field into two parts and then places in both his hands. Then he starts shooting malice energy at the Nomu. To shock Deku even more, the Nomu did not move at all. Crap. That would have moved All Might back. So either he's as strong as All Might, or he's a quirk to absorb shock. Let's see which one it is. Deku's hand starts to glow again, and he's about to place it on the Nomu when the Nomu tries to reach Deku. Deku immediately backs off, and he also makes himself intangible, falling through the floor. As the Nomu tries to reach Deku, it hits the floor, and when it gets back up, Deku flies out of the floor, going to him, punching him. His fist full of malice, to see if it's a shock absorption quirk, or if he's just as strong as All Might. When Deku sees that the gnome is not flying, he knows it's a shock absorption quirk. Don't matter, I can still get around that. Deku's hands start to glow once more, and then his other hand is full of malice. When he combines them both, a massive spear appears. Deku is now infusing the malice spear with malice, and then when he throws it, it spins around. He yells out, "Malice spear drill." Now that there's a massive, basically drill piercing through the Nomu's stomach, the Nomu is actually falling back a little bit. Now there's a big hole through the Nomu's stomach, and Deku is a little bit happy now that they have bought some time. But it don't matter, because the Nomu regenerates, and Deku is horrified. As the Nomu runs up to the air to hit Deku, Deku smiles. To Shigaraki's surprise. When the Nomu goes to hit Deku, Deku makes himself intangible, causing the Nomu to completely miss again. Deku puts his hands in the Nomu's face, and then he punches the Nomu, causing the Nomu to be sent flying. Shigaraki is in complete shock that a punch was able to send the Nomu flying, and so is everyone else. But they see a mark on the Nomu's face. Now everyone's confused. What is that mark? Because it's different from the one he put on the warp villain. Deku says because it's a different enchantment. This enchantment has a special ability. It's not more like an enchantment, more like a curse. Deku is walking down the stairs slowly as he's saying this. With a massive smile, Deku says, "This enchantment, aka a curse, allows me to take 75% of the Nomu's strength and get rid of the regeneration quirk and the shock absorption quirk out of the equation. So now you're screwed, buddy. It took a while to activate this quirk. I mean, not this quirk, this enchantment, but the criteria were met, and I was able to place it on you. Now that this curse is on you, you're screwed. Deku says as he starts punching the Nomu rapidly. Even if the Nomu does survive and actually manage to try and hit Deku back, he just makes himself untangible, causing the hit to go right through him and allowing Deku to hit the Nomu once again. Now Deku's going to end this. Both his hands get full of malice as two massive flame of fireball looking things appear. Deku puts them together and yells, "Bye-bye!" as the two balls now make a giant cannon, disintegrating the Nomu, or at least part of it. What Deku did not realize is that the Nomu moved where the mark was hit. Then when Deku realizes what had just happened, Deku's eyes open up in fear. Deku is about to run, but it's too late. The Nomu's right there and punches Deku in the face. Deku, not expecting this, didn't make himself untangible, so he's just sent flying. As Shigaraki says, "Well, that kid's dead now." Deku gets back up. Shigaraki is in complete shock. "How are you alive?" Deku, with a furious look in his eyes, says, "You can't kill with something that's already dead." As two swords appear. That dumb Nomu's a lot more intelligent than I thought. He got rid of the mark on his body, causing the enchantment to wear off. Deku says it's in his head. But everyone already knows this. Well, all the students. And the warp villain figured it out because he says the enchantment's gone. The enchantment mark is gone, and now the Nomu has his abilities back. So the warp villain yells at Shigaraki, "I know how his quirk works. We just have to get rid of the marks on the Nomu's body, and the Nomus will be unstoppable." Deku is literally just slicing up the Nomu, but the Nomu regenerates and hits Deku again. The Nomu is about to land a finishing shot on Deku, and Deku is about to make himself intangible, but it doesn't matter, because, well, All Might appears. Punching the Nomu right in the face, sending it flying, All Might saves Deku. After a couple minutes of fighting the Nomu, All Might knows that he can't beat the Nomu at this rate. His power is simply not enough. Even though the hole in All Might's thing is gone, which I think it is. No, it's not. Well, if it's not gone, it's about to be. Deku goes up, and both his hands start to glow. Deku smacks All Might where All Might's wound is, and then runs towards the Nomu. Nomu's about to hit him, but Deku just does the same thing that got the Nomu the first time. Makes himself tangible, slaps him in the face. All Might immediately starts to notice that his wound is healing, if it wasn't healed already. I can't remember. Then he just looks at the Nomu and says, "You're screwed." As he sprints off to the Nomu and punches the Nomu in the face, completely ripping off. Now the Nomu has no head, and Shigaraki yells at the warp villain, "Get us out of here!" They both disappear into the black portal, and the Pearl Zero never needed to arrive. And just like that, the USJ is over. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, hit the like button. And if you really like this video, hit the subscribe button, because it really helps. leave in the comments below a series that you want to see, and maybe I'll just do it. Oh, and also, if you guys should also go and watch What If Deku was trained by Eraserhead, and What If Deku had used One for All properly. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and peace.